Hello, welcome, and thank you for taking the time to be with us today as we go through Monrovia's featured plants and new introductions for 2021. We want to be very respectful of your time today, so we're just going to launch right into things. But if you do have questions, our contact information will be at the end of the presentation. Please feel free to reach out to us with any of your needs. Let me start with some introductions. First up, I'd like to introduce you to Katie Tammany. Katie's official title at Monrovia is Chief Marketing Officer, but she really is Monrovia's Chief Storyteller. Katie has recently returned to Monrovia after being gone for a few years. And in a previous life, she was with Sunset Magazine for 18 years. 10 of those years, she was editor-in-chief, and she also published the first Photo Intense edition of the Western Garden Book and the Edible Garden Cookbook and Small Space Gardens. I'd like to also introduce you to Georgia Clay. Georgia is the new plants manager at Monrovia, which is a pretty formal way of saying she's our go-to expert for information on all these featured plants and on the 2021 introductions. She's going to be our tour guide today, and Georgia's been in the plant industry for more than 10 years and is a key member of Monrovia's Plant Hunter team. I'm Kathleen Hennessy. I work for Monrovia's agency, Axiom Marketing. I've been in horticulture marketing for about 20 years, and I'm an avid home gardener and a bit of a hydrangea and rose fanatic. So we're so happy that you took the time to spend some time with us today. And now that you have a little background on us, I'm going to kick it over to Katie.
Thanks for joining us. I'm going to share my screen in a few minutes and just bring you up to speed on the trends that we're looking at and a little bit more about Monrovia. To set the stage, I want to talk about some of the gardening trends that we're looking at as we think about the future and what we've experienced this year. It's been an incredible year in the plant business. I think so many people are turning to gardening to stay busy, reduce their stress at a time of uncertainty, feel a sense of accomplishment, connect with nature, and increase the beauty of their home, where we're all spending a lot more time. We're also certainly seeing an increase in garden spending as spending in other sectors is decreasing, such as in travel and restaurant experiences. We have really noticed, talking to our garden center customers, that shopping behavior has changed. It used to be that spring was, kind of the holiday season in our world, but now garden shopping, plant shopping is happening all year long, and weekday shopping is also up. We didn't see a slip up at all at the end of spring. In fact, we saw an incredible interest throughout the summer and into fall that doesn't seem to be letting up. There's definitely more interest in edibles, but also in flowering plants, pollinators, significant increase in houseplants, indoor-outdoor plants, textural shrubs, even trees. Basically, anything that's growing is popular. We have also seen a tremendous increase in online shopping as people are spending more of their time at home. And on our own Shop Monrovia site, our sales are up at least 30% year over year, which is the biggest increase we've seen since we launched. And we've also launched a new platform for garden centers to sell plants directly online to their consumers, and that's called Plant. So it's been a very exciting year for us. If you're not familiar with Monrovia, we have been around for almost 100 years, since 1926. We're still family owned. Our CEO is the son of the founder, and we have nurseries located throughout the country, California, Oregon, Georgia, and Connecticut, allowing us to grow such a wide variety of plants that will thrive in every region of the country. And what sets us apart as Monrovia? Well, for one thing, we have years of expertise in propagation and care, and we believe strongly that genetics matter. And we work hard with plant breeders and explorers from around the world to choose only the best varieties to grow, those that have better blooming, proven performance in the garden. We take our environmental stewardship very seriously and follow nature to teach us what a plant needs and to take care of the environment as we're taking care of our plants. And probably most fundamentally, We rely on our craftsmen who work with hands, mind, and heart to prune our plants extra carefully, to really nurture them before they get into the garden center for home gardeners to enjoy. So with that introduction, I'd like to turn over our presentation to my colleague, Georgia, who's going to take you through our exciting plant introductions.
Thank you, Katie. Let me just share. Hope you can see that. So just to echo what Katie said, you know, a big part of what we do is genetics. We trial thousands of varieties searching for unique plants, plants that are going to be improvements on some of the standards that you see in the gardens everywhere. You know, we believe that a big part of keeping gardeners confident and engaged with gardening is to make sure that they have a good experience and to make sure that what they plant instills confidence in them to continue to do so. So we think that we do that with good genetics and making sure that the plants that we choose to grow really do perform well, and we have confidence in them as well. So I'm going to share with you some of our featured plant varieties for 2021. This certainly isn't all of our featured plants for 21, but it is a select few that we thought would be kind of fun to talk about today. So without further ado, I will get this to click through. There we go. We'll start with the Tectonic series of begonias. These are sort of a fun series of begonias from plant explorer Dan Hinckley. We are super lucky to have such a great relationship with Dan. He travels the world and sends us all sorts of interesting plants, and this is where the Tectonic series came from. Really wonderful textures in this series. You can see fantastic foliage shapes and colors. These are very tropical looking, but they are zone 8 hardy, so much more hardy than you would expect from something that looks like this. We've overwintered them in containers, and they've also been overwintered in the ground and have proven to be zone 8, so that's really exciting. This one here is Tectonic Asteroid. We have Tectonic Eruption as well. Really great ruffled foliage, fantastic texture. These would be great for containers. So if you had a shady outdoor container spot somewhere right by the front door, these even would make great houseplants as well. So really versatile, great plants for texture and foliage here. Moving to Bleue, this is a Caryopteris or Bluebeard. This is one of my absolute favorite late summer pollinator plants. The thing that I love about Bleue is that beautiful golden foliage that you see. So in spring, the foliage emerges gold and then it stays gold throughout the season. So many times with gold foliage, full sun plants, you can get some burn on that foliage. But with Bleue, we haven't seen that. So it does continue to stay really bright and really sunny, beautiful, even in that full sun. And then on top of that golden foliage, you have beautiful blue flowers that just cover the plant. The flowers are beautiful alone, and they are great at attracting pollinators. So bumblebees, honeybees, pollinators just love this guy. So like I said, late summer pollinator plant, perfect. Caryopteris is a great plant too because the size is really well adapted to fit into any space. So it's only going to be about 3 to 4 feet tall at maximum. So perfect for pretty much anywhere that you wanted to put it. Moving now to Jade Wave. This is a Fernspray fall cypress or Camphocypress obtusa. What I love about Jade Wave is its manageable size. This is a really nice compact selection of Camphocypress obtusa. You know, normally they'd be 20, 30 feet tall, and this one's only ever going to be about 8 foot tall by 4 feet wide. You know, we're seeing a big large trend with homeowners not having the same amount of space that they used to have to add in these conifers that provide such great texture and kind of anchor the garden down. And they don't have the space for those large shrubs anymore. So if we can find that same habit or that same look, but on a much smaller habit, that's a win in our book. And Jade Wave has a great habit super nice ferny foliage, and it can provide that anchoring spot, that nice bit of texture that that small garden needs as well. So Jazzy Jewel, this is our tropical hibiscus series that we're introducing for 21. Fantastic colors on these tropical hibiscus, super bright, super vivid. We trialed a lot of tropical hibiscus over the years, and we've settled on 4 varieties. We really love their naturally branched habit, so they look really nice and full, great bushy habit. They also have foliage all the way down to the base, so you won't get that woody look, especially when in a container. You won't see a naked stem. You'll see a nice full base, a nice full plant in habit. We also selected these for just the sheer amount of bud and bloom. So up and down the stem, tons of flowers, lots of flowers consistently opening up because you get lots of bloom, a lot of buds. Another great plant to have for containers. So, you know, outdoor living, outdoor spaces are becoming more and more popular. You know, put this in a container by the pool, by your front patio, by a outdoor courtyard, and it's fantastic. And then you can bring it in during the winter by a sunny window, and oftentimes it'll continue to bloom if it's sunny enough near your window. Or you can also put it in the garage for overwintering. So, you know, really versatile, something you can move out and in at your leisure, and provide a ton of color. So we have Jazzy Jewel Amber here, Jazzy Jewel Gold, Jazzy Jewel Ruby, which I just love that great multi-tone, tritone. It goes bright red and then the pinks, and then inside is that dark pink. I think that's really unique and pretty cool. And we also have Jazzy Jewel Opal. So great tropical hibiscus coming for 2021. Moving now to our Seaside Serenade hydrangea. We have a lot of hydrangeas within our Seaside Serenade collection. Our newest one is Seaside Serenade Newport. This is a fantastic hydrangea for so many reasons. One being the obvious, that beautiful purple color to the bloom is fantastic. Really stunning, really unique to the marketplace. You can see here it also has this blue fertile flower. Nice contrast in there that I just love. And then the thing that makes this really stand out and really unique to the marketplace is that it's a tetraploid. And what being a tetraploid means is it does a couple of things. It shortens the distance between the leaf nodes, which makes the plant naturally really compact and really sturdy. So because the plant is compact, it's not going to fall apart in a big storm event. It also means that the stems are going to be as thick as your thumb, really sturdy, really nice habit. Another thing that it does is it thickens the cuticles. That's the leaf and the flower cuticle. And because that flower is thicker and waxier, it's really quite leathery, it's going to last and last and last a lot longer than traditional hydrangea macrophylla would last. So, you know, a bloom on one plant, one bloom is going to last 2 to 3 months in the garden. And then if you cut it, it's going to last 2 to 3 times longer than a traditional garden hydrangea would in a vase. So really neat. That's a lot of added value, and it does just cover itself in blooms. Another added benefit for the homeowner for those thick leathery stems is the ability to withstand afternoon watering. Many homeowners forget to water in the morning, and they see that they forgot, and so they quickly run out and water when the sun's out and it's hot. Hydrangea macrophylla typically don't like that. The water will stand on that flower and it'll tend to burn it. But because this is such a leathery, thick flower, it really doesn't burn the flower to have that midday watering. So really nice added benefit there for the homeowner.
Georgia, let me jump in here just for a second. As a home gardener, I have several different varieties of hydrangea in my yard, and Georgia is not kidding when she talks about how long these blooms last in the garden and in the vase. They are just an extremely long-lasting, beautiful bloom, and because there are so many on the plant, you don't feel bad cutting a few and bringing them inside, because it's not going to deter from the beauty of the plant that's outside. The other thing that I've noticed as a home gardener too is that some varieties of hydrangea in the heat of the afternoon will wilt or start to look a little sad during the heat. This one doesn't do that. So you're going to have a beautiful plant that looks good all day long in the garden.
Yeah, and another, it does bloom and bloom, and then it repeat blooms. So both old and new wood, you will get flowers on, which is great if you want accident, have a little pruning mistake, or, just great for sheer amount of flowers. So Newport isn't the only Seaside Serenade hydrangea in the collection. This is kind of the scope of what else is there. I won't go everything in detail, but, just for an example, Fire Island, Cape Lookout, Hatteras, Martha's Vineyard, those are all going to be tetraploid. So all of those great features, the thick stem, the leathery flower, all are going to be on those as well. We have Cape May, which is a really cool hydrangea serrata variety. Serratas are really interesting. They're a subset genus of Macrophylla. Every single serrata hydrangea comes from one side of Mount Fuji in Japan. So every single one that you see on the market comes from the exact same place. I think that's pretty cool. What you get with a serrata is a plant that's naturally more stem hardy than other typical macrophyllas. So if you live in a cooler environment and you get a lot of stem dieback, Cape May might be a good option for you because it is more stem hardy. You also get a nice large lace cap flower with double flower. So really cool, really interesting look to the Cape May as well. And then we also have an arborescens variety, so Bar Harbor. People really love arborescens varieties because they are reliably very hardy and they bloom on new wood. Oftentimes, they grow really fast and then they get kind of soft, and that first storm that comes through splits them open. And so then they kind of look ugly and the flowers can't shine like they should. Bar Harbor, we've noticed, have much stiffer stems. That's due to, again, that shorter internode and thick, stocky stems. So it's not going to fall over in that storm event. You're going to be able to really enjoy the plant and enjoy its nice full habit and full flowers. So really, we're excited about our Seaside Serenades. We do think they bring something extra special to the market. So moving now to our roses. We trialed, hundreds of roses, searching for, vivid, bright colors, self-cleaning flowers, rebloom, cleanliness, great habits, just something that was really going to let gardeners be successful with their roses and really enjoy the colors that they can bring to the garden. So we have, from our trials, we have Grace and Grit roses. These are traditional shrub roses with floribunda flowers. So you're going to have a rounded habit about 5 feet tall by 4 feet wide or so. You have beautiful reddish bronze new growth on all of the varieties and really high gloss foliage. One of the things that makes this really neat is that it's on their own root. So as opposed to being grafted onto a different root system, you are on your own root, which means it's very clean and very hardy. So you can get total stem dieback, and everything that's going to come up from the ground is going to be the correct variety. So you are always going to have Grace and Grit bicolor if that is what you planted, which is really nice. It just adds a little bit of extra insurance that you're going to have a beautiful rose there. So Grace and Grit bicolor is what you see here. We have Grace and Grit red, which is that vibrant, super nice red. Grace and Grit pink, and Grace and Grit yellow. And then again, we added Nitty Gritty Rose, which is more of a sprawling type. So out of that same batch of trials, we noticed 2 different habits. One, the bush type, which is the Grace and Grit, and then one, the sprawlers, which is the Nitty Gritty. So, about 3 feet tall by 4 to 5 feet wide or so in the garden, with more of a spray rose type flower. Again, super vivid, reblooming, clean, and again on their own roots, so hardy, really nice and full. We have Nitty Gritty White, Nitty Gritty Peach. This photo does, I think, a good job of showing the shine on the foliage there. It's like somebody went and sprayed Pledge all over it. It is super high gloss, really, really neat looking. Even without the flower, that foliage is stunning. And this actually does have quite a nice fragrance, the peach does. So that's an added benefit there. And then Nitty Gritty Yellow, which also does a great job of showing you that red new growth, that great foliage. And then the yellow is fantastic because it's electric. It's not that, it's not pale. It's really bright. Oftentimes when it comes out with that peachy orange overlay to it, it's really quite a unique color. And Nitty Gritty Red and Nitty Gritty Pink. So we've trialed these all over the country, and we have them sold all over the and they've been super clean. You know, one of our nurseries is in Georgia, where the heat and humidity is super, super intense, and that makes the disease pressure extremely high. And these have been super clean. So we really have high confidence in these roses, and we do believe that they're going to be really great for the consumer in the garden. So moving now to Goldfinger Hardy Schefflera. This is another one of Dan Hinckley's discoveries, a fantastic Schefflera. He found these in the mountains of Taiwan. So this is a Taiwaniana species, which makes it more hardy than what you traditionally find. So while regular Schefflera is normally a zone 8, this one is going to be a zone 7. So you get a whole new batch of gardeners able to get that great tropical look of the Schefflera. Beautiful texture, great movement for the garden with this Goldfinger. You can kind of see in this photo, it has fantastic gold stems, which gives it a whole nother layer of interest. Perfect for containers. So if you, again, have a shady spot where you like to entertain, dappled sunshine, this Goldfinger Schefflera is going to look fantastic in your garden or in a pot. Another one that you can safely overwinter indoors or keep in full time if you're looking for a larger house plant. Goldfinger would also work really well for that. So fantastic texture, really unique, cool, hardy Goldfinger Schefflera. Bountiful is our collection of blueberries. You know, edibles are really big right now, and we think our blueberries add a great benefit. Not only do they produce fruit, but they are fantastic shrubs as well. This Bountiful Blue has a great habit, really nice and rounded, full of foliage. And a beautiful, beautiful blue foliage. It's super interesting. Even before the berries start, it looks fantastic in the garden. It looks fantastic in a container. And then you get the added benefit of a ton of blueberries. This one plant will produce about 8 to 10 pounds of fruit per year, which is awesome. The fruit really are delicious, really quite large as well. So great plant that does double duty as an edible and a nice shrub. And then we also, for 2020, we've introduced a Bountiful Delight. This is another great shrub on its own, so fantastic foliage. I love this pointed leaf that we have here. I think that gives it a really unique texture in the garden. Again, really nice rounded shrub, about 2 to 3 feet tall and wide. And then great berry production as well. The berries are really sweet, they're really aromatic. You get a wonderful bright red new growth with this. So whereas Bountiful Blue, you get red fall color, so you get that color change in the fall. Bountiful Delight, you'll get the color change, the red in the spring. So really nice. Bountiful Delight has been a standout in the really hot climate. So if you live in the south or somewhere where it gets really quite hot, Bountiful Delight's going to be awesome for you. It's proven to produce really well, really low chill hour, so only 300 needed. Fantastic for the warm, hot regions. And then we also have our grape series. So these are our Zestful series, breeding work from a grape company in the California Central Valley that supplies grocery stores. This is actually the first time that they've allowed their grapes to be sold to homeowners as ornamentals. So we are super excited that we get to have these. Really fantastic table grape varieties for the garden. You can see just the sheer size of these clusters is pretty awesome, and the flavor is fantastic as well. So we have Lollipop here, which is super sweet, super sugary, just like a lollipop. Waterfall, which is called a finger grape. It has that really interesting, really interesting cluster. And then Golden Chalice, which you can see is just this huge bunch of grapes, something like what you would see at a grocery store. So really excited to have these Zestful grapes. Awesome for Californians. Texas is also a great place to grow these. So we're excited about these ones. Moving now to Echinacea. This is a Evolution Colorific. This was a selection at our Oregon nursery. We selected this for its sheer abundance of flowers and its fantastic habit. The one standout quality about this Evolution Colorific is the rainbow of colors that it produces on one plant. So, you know, it opens yellow and then it goes through these beautiful pinks, kind of a painted yellow flower, and then it moves through salmons all the way to this beautiful deep dark, almost purple, but dark pink, almost purple. Really neat. Like I said, at one time, if this is in your garden, you can see four colors at once, which makes it a really special variety, I think, for the homeowner. So our Skye Daylilies we introduced this year. These are fantastic, really unique, super special daylilies. We chose them for their sheer abundance of flowers, so tons of bud and bloom and great intricate colors. And you can see this beautiful ruffled petal. So really interesting textures here and really cool colors. You know, oftentimes daylilies, when you get the more intricate designs to your blooms, you lose out on bud and bloom. But with the Skye series, we are noticing continuous bloom throughout the season. So you really get a lot of buds and a lot of blooms throughout the season. This here is Blazing Skye with that beautiful maroon and yellow with the ruffled. And a large ruffly petal as well. So really interesting petal on that. We have Stormy Skye, Radiant Skye, and Titan Skye. Titan is really interesting in the series. So just like I was talking about our hydrangeas being a tetraploid, Titan Skye is also a tetraploid. And what that does in a daylily is the same thing. It gives you a really thick, leathery flower. So the flowers last way longer than they traditionally would. Typically, a daylily will last, one flower will last a day or two on the plant. But with Titan, one flower is going to last a week up to 10 days. So that just extends your bloom time and gives you more bloom power throughout the season. So really cool breeding work with Titan Skye. And moving to one of my absolute favorite plants that Monrovia has ever introduced, I think, the sunflower. This is Sunfelievable Brown-Eyed Girl. This is such a unique and cool plant. So when you think about a sunflower, you think of something that's going to go straight up. It's going to bloom once really big. It makes you feel really happy because it's beautiful and nice and sunny yellow. And then it's done. So you get a couple moments of glory and then it's done for the season. But Sunfelievable, what we've done is we've given a flower that will last from spring all the way through fall. We had ours in bloom until the second frost last year, so that was well into November. Pretty awesome. In total, it's going to be about 3 feet tall by 3 feet wide, so totally different habit than what you'd expect from a sunflower. So these we say will produce 1,000 blooms. I mean, it's likely more than that. They're day length neutral and they're sterile. So all of its energy is being put into flower production, not into creating a seed. So you get flowers literally from spring all the way through fall. Another thing that I love about this is that as it ages, as you get closer to fall, this brown eye gets even deeper and even darker, which to me brings out a lot of autumn colors, just as autumn is about to come. I had this in a container and it totally negated my need for mums for the year. It just looked fantastic still, well into the times when I would normally plant them. And it brought on those traditional mum colors anyway. So really cool. Just adds a little something interesting to your containers or your garden for the year. And lastly, I'll talk about Summerlasting Crepe Myrtle. So this is kind of a sneak peek to what's to come. We're going to have some available for 2021, but our bigger numbers will be 2022. Summerlasting is a fantastic series of crepe myrtles. We are super excited about them. Bear with us. These are just trial photos, but I just wanted to show you something to get you excited about them. We have two dark foliage varieties, Summerlasting Raspberry and Summerlasting Coconut. Both going to be really compact, so only going to be 3 feet tall or so. So no need for a homeowner or anyone to aggressively prune to keep a small shrub. They'll just consistently be small. Summerlasting Raspberry is really, really neat. It's the earliest flowering black foliage variety of crepe myrtle on the market. So weeks before any other black foliage is in bloom, the Summerlasting Raspberry will be showing off beautiful hot, hot pink flowers. You know, crepe myrtles usually rebloom, but they rebloom after you deadhead. But Summerlasting Raspberry will rebloom even without the need for deadheading. So really special, you know, lots of blooms without any additional input or any additional effort to be had by the gardener. So really quite cool. And then Summerlasting Coconut is a pure white flower, the same characteristics as raspberry, perhaps a week or two later to flower, but both still very, very early for a dark foliage. And then Summerlasting Strawberry, which is a green foliage variety, super high gloss, nice bright red new growth. And then it does completely cover itself in these great hot pink flowers. This isn't a sporadic flower, this is a complete flush, and so it does almost turn totally pink 2 to 3 times a year. In the summer it'll just flush 2 to 3 times. So really, really neat, nice, again 3 feet tall by 3 feet wide or so, so nice, compact, and good mildew resistance on these as well. So that's all I had for you for our plants. Really appreciate your time. If you have any questions, we do have our contact information. Feel free to reach out, but I'll pass it on to Kathleen.
Sounds great. Well, thank you for joining us. As Georgia said, if there are any questions, we're happy to help you out with anything. Katie, you have anything to add?
Oh, just how excited we are about these plants and more. And you can see more of our plants online at monrovia.com.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye.